The press secretary's bombshell. The American spotlight studio blazes with lights, the atmosphere electric as if bracing for a media storm. Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, strides onto the stage with a confident smile, but her eyes are sharp as a blade. The audience whispers as cameras lock in, unaware that she's about to drop a bombshell aimed directly at former Vice President Kamala Harris. It all began last week when Harris, in a viral post, called Leavitt Trump's immature spokesperson, peddling nothing but fake news. The jab infuriated Leavitt, but she didn't fire back immediately. Instead, she quietly prepared. And today, she's ready. I have an interesting story about Miss Harris. Leavitt begins, her voice calm but cutting. She loves playing progressive leader, but there are secrets she doesn't want Americans to know. The room falls silent. Golden lights shine on Karoline Leavitt as she launches a media grenade. Host Laura Ingraham, eyes gleaming, leans forward. "Karoline," Ingraham says, her voice low and dramatic, "you made serious allegations about Kamala Harris. Give the audience more details." Leavitt, in an elegant gray suit, sits upright, her gaze steely. Kamala Harris claims to be a progressive leader, but the truth is far harsher. She begins, her voice sharp as a knife. As vice president, she was tasked with securing the border but failed miserably. Internal documents we have show Harris ignored warnings about immigrant gang activity like MS-13. She pauses, letting the words sink in. Ingraham, sensing the heat, presses, "What about the campaign?" Leavitt flashes a cold smile, pulling out a stack of documents, allegedly internal Democratic emails, though their authenticity is questionable. In the 2024 campaign, Harris knew Joe Biden's health was deteriorating severely, but she hid the truth. She held secret meetings to silence advisors, putting personal ambition above national interest. She flips a page, her voice growing fiercer. Worse, Barack Obama and top Democrats call Harris a liability. In one email, Obama bluntly said she wasn't fit to represent the party. Yet Harris clung to power despite internal opposition. Ingraham fires a pointed question. "You say Harris neglected national security? Any specific examples?" Leavitt doesn't blink. In 2022, an intelligence report sent to Harris warned of MS-13 activity at the Texas border. She not only ignored it but rejected governor's proposal for increased security. The result? A gang violence outbreak in Houston killed dozens. Harris chose media appearances to polish her image over action. That's not failure, it's betrayal. The studio audience murmurs, some nodding, others shaking their heads in doubt. We also found Harris took advice from consultants tied to shady funding groups profiting from her lax border policies. Some of these funds trace back to South American lobbying groups, and Harris knew but collaborated anyway. She holds up a chart showing rising immigrant crime under Harris, emphasizing that each number represents a story Harris ignored. Do you think Harris should face legal accountability? Ingraham pushes. Leavitt smiles. Americans will judge her. These documents show she's not just incompetent but unethical. Justice will come, one way or another. Not far away, in a Capitol office, Jasmine Crockett sits before her laptop watching American Spotlight Live. Each of Leavitt's accusations hits like a punch, but Crockett stays calm, scribbling notes. As a Texas congresswoman, lawyer, and a squad member, she's used to political dirty tricks. Leavitt's claims from the border to Obama sound like a scripted hit job, she mutters, eyes icy. Memories of tough days in Texas flash by, working twice as hard to overcome bias about her race and gender. Those challenges forged her, and now she's determined to defend Harris, not just as an ally but for the sake of justice. Want to take down Kamala? You'll have to go through me first, she vows, texting her aide. Prepare border and 2024 campaign documents. We're exposing them. The next morning, the air in the Capitol hearing room is heavy, like the calm before battle. Light streams through tall windows onto polished wooden benches where lawmakers sit upright, eyes fixed on the podium. Cameras from major outlets focus, ready to capture every moment. Jasmine Crockett steps to the podium with resolute strides, her navy suit exuding strength. After Karoline Leavitt's damning accusations, Crockett knows it's time to strike back, not just to defend Kamala Harris, but to expose what she sees as filthy political games. Colleagues, Crockett begins, her voice low but powerful. Yesterday we witnessed a TV performance, not truth, but a scripted drama to smear a woman who's devoted her life to justice, Kamala Harris. The room stays, some Democrats nodding, Republicans frowning. Crockett holds up her own stack of documents, not for show, but to underscore her preparation. Leavitt says Harris failed at the border. Let's look at the real data, she says, her voice sharp as a blade. Under Harris, Border Patrol funding rose 15%, and immigrant crime arrests hit record highs. She didn't ignore reports. She led operations to dismantle gangs like MS-13. She flips a page, casting a defiant glance at the Republicans. If that's failure, I wonder what you call success. The room falls quiet, save for reporters scribbling. Crockett shifts, her voice low like a lawyer delivering a closing argument. On Biden's health, Leavitt claims Harris hid the truth. But history shows Harris was the first to call for transparency in the 2024 campaign, holding press briefings to answer every question. She pauses, noting a Republican shaking his head. I see skepticism here, she says, a smirk tugging her lips. Good. Skepticism is needed, but aim it at the right place. Leavitt's forged document she calls evidence. She displays one of Leavitt's emails enlarged on the chamber screen. This is what they call proof of Obama bashing Harris. Crockett says, dripping with sarcasm. But experts confirm this email was fabricated by editing software with no trace of authenticity. Leavitt didn't just lie. She deliberately manipulated the truth to divide us. Applause erupts from Democrats, but Crockett raises a hand, silencing them. I'm not done, she says, her voice like thunder. Leavitt dared claim Harris took money from shady groups. But look at Harris's financial records. Every donation is public, rigorously vetted. Meanwhile, I wonder who's funding this smear campaign. The question hangs, some Republicans looking down. Crockett steps closer to the MIC, her voice soft but weighty. Kamala Harris isn't perfect, but she's fought for women's rights, minority communities, and those left behind. Leavitt, a young spokesperson, might think a few papers and a lit stage can destroy a legacy. She's wrong. A Republican senator, Tom Reynolds, stands, interrupting. Miss Crockett, you're defending someone who failed her role. The border proves it. Crockett smiles, unfazed. Senator Reynolds, if you want to talk borders, let's talk about your party-cutting security budgets in 2023, leaving Harris with limited resources. Don't blame the cleaner when you made the mess. The room erupts in Democratic laughter and applause as Reynolds sits, face flushed. Leavitt calls Harris a liability. I say Leavitt's a liability, a spokesperson willing to spread fake news to please her bosses. I'm here not just to defend Harris, but to defend the truth. And the truth is, Harris worked tirelessly while Leavitt and her backers spun tales. Crockett ends with a call. Stop the smears. Work for the people. The country. The truth. After Jasmine Crockett's explosive congressional speech, pressure mounts on Harris to address Karoline Leavitt's accusations. Under Washington, D.C.'s gentle sunset, a crowd gathers outside the Lincoln Convention Center where Kamala Harris is set to take the stage. Banners rise with Truth stands tall and Harris fights on. Harris, in an elegant purple suit, steps out with calm poise, but her eyes gleam with unyielding resolve. She places her hand on the MIC, her breath steady as if drawing strength from the air. Tonight, I stand here not to defend myself, but to clarify. Harris begins, her voice warm. Leavitt says I had the truth about Joe Biden's health. But let's recall, throughout the 2024 campaign, I stood before the press weekly, answering every question from policy to the president's health. I didn't dodge, I engaged. If there was any concealment, it came from those spreading rumors to erode voter trust. The crowd applauds, chants of Kamala rising from the back. On the border, Leavitt calls it my failure. But the truth is, I worked tirelessly to strengthen security while upholding America's humanitarian values. I met with governors, border agents, and local communities. We increased budgets, dismantled gangs, and protected thousands of families. That's not failure, that's leadership in tough times. Harris shifts her tone, softer, almost confiding. Leavitt also claims my own party saw me as a burden. Let me say this. In politics, no one escapes criticism. I face it as a prosecutor, senator, and vice president. But I'm not here to please everyone. I'm here to serve the American people, and I'm proud of what we've achieved. She pauses, letting the crowd applause and cheers swell. She raises a hand, signaling silence, her eyes blazing. Those documents Leavitt calls evidence? They are nothing but a hoax. Experts confirm they are fabricated, designed to divide us. I'm not surprised. It's an old tactic. Spread fake news to obscure the truth. But I trust Americans. You're smarter than that. You know the value of truth. The crowd erupts again. Chants of truth. Truth. Echoing. I've spoken with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who bravely stood up for the truth today. I thank her, not just for her support, but for reminding us we're stronger together. She returns to the MIC, her voice rising like a call to action. Today, I urge you all, question, verify, and stand for the truth. We won't let lies divide us. We won't let dirty tricks dim America's ideals. We move forward together for a just and transparent future. The crowd leaps to its feet, applause thundering for minutes as Harris leaves the stage. Evening news broadcasts are flooded with analyses of Harris's rebuttal and Jasmine Crockett's sharp congressional speech. Karoline Leavitt, though cornered, fires off a defiant post. If Miss Crockett and Harris are so confident in their truth, let them face me on live TV. The post spreads like wildfire, prompting CNN to swiftly organize a live debate. Seeing a chance to draw millions of viewers, Leavitt agrees instantly, determined to restore her credibility. Crockett, though hesitant, is pushed by the Democratic team to participate. On the night of the CNN debate, silver-white lights illuminate a circular stage where two podiums face off like battle lines. The audience buzzes with tension as host Anderson Cooper steps onto the stage. Tonight, we witness a showdown between Karoline Leavitt, White House Press Secretary, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett over allegations targeting Kamala Harris. Leavitt takes the right podium, her eyes confident like a strategist who's planned every move. Crockett appears on the left, her stride resolute but her eyes betraying a flicker of unease. They lock eyes like gladiators ready to clash. Cooper opens with a blunt question. Miss Leavitt, you accuse Kamala Harris of failing as vice president. Miss Crockett, you've called it a lie. Miss Leavitt, you start. Leavitt takes a deep breath, stepping into her rhythm. For nearly 20 minutes, the debate crescendos between the two women, Leavitt cool and calculating, Crockett increasingly emotional. When Leavitt unveils a new stack of documents allegedly from Homeland Security, Crockett's composure begins to crack. Leavitt, you're making this up, she exclaims, voice peaking, and pointing sharply at Leavitt. But her aggressive gesture sparks audience murmurs. Cooper intervenes. Miss Crockett, please stay calm. But Crockett, swept up in emotion, presses on. She's Trump's puppet spreading fake news to smear Harris. I won't let this slide. The audience murmurs, some shaking their heads. Leavitt, seizing the moment, responds with a low, cutting tone. Crockett can scream, but the truth doesn't need emotion. By the debate's end, it's clear who's won. Leavitt leaves the studio with the air of a victor, her eyes gleaming as she checks a phone. Posts praise her as the truth exposed, with #Leavitt exposes dominating social media. A fan-made video splicing Leavitt's document reveals with triumphant background music goes viral. Crockett exits the studio in turmoil. She sits in her car quietly scrolling through social media where she's mocked for losing control and screaming into the MIC like a sore loser. A viral meme shows her angry face with a caption, "When the truth is too hard to handle." Under the fading dawn sky of Washington, D.C., a small but significant event unfolds at Meridian Hill Park. Red maples glow under the early sun, and a modest crowd, students, activists, and Democratic supporters, gathers around a makeshift stage. After Jasmine Crockett's stinging defeat and the media tide favoring Karoline Leavitt, Kamala Harris and Crockett decide to appear together, not to attack, but to reignite unity. Simple banners reading "Truth unites us," and we rise together, sway gently. Harris takes the stage first, her demeanor calm but her eyes radiating resilience. We're living in a time when truth is twisted, but today I stand here with someone who's fought tirelessly for justice, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Crockett steps out with a radiant smile, but her eyes carry a hint of reflection after her loss to Leavitt. "I'm not here to apologize," she begins, her voice resounding like a drumbeat. "I'm here to say we don't fall. Leavitt may think she won, but she only won a small battle. The real fight is for the American people, and we won't give up." She steps to the stage's edge, her voice softening, confiding. "I made mistakes in the debate. I let emotion take over, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm not sorry for defending Kamala Harris, who spent her life fighting for the voiceless." Harris adds, her voice strong like a declaration. "We're building a movement not just to refute lies, to create a future where truth is respected. Jasmine and I have spoken with our teams, and we're planning community forums where people can ask questions, verify information, and rebuild trust together." The crowd applauds, cheers swelling like waves carrying fresh hope. "We're not afraid of Leavitt or her tactics," Crockett continues, her voice rising with passion. "We're stronger because we stand together, black people, women, youth, everyone who believes in justice. Today I pledge to keep fighting, not just for Harris, but for every one of you." She raises her hand like an oath, and the crowd erupts, chants of "keep fighting" echoing through the park. As the two leave the stage, they shake hands with supporters, sharing hugs and words of encouragement. In her mind, Crockett recalls tough days in Texas, overcoming bias to become a congresswoman. The CNN loss was a wound, but today's unity with Harris is a balm. Harris, while shaking a student's hand, whispers to Crockett, "We'll do this, Jasmine. Together." Crockett nods, her eyes blazing with resolve. The story of this clash deeply reflects the polarization and media's role in U.S. political life today. Leavitt, with her commanding debate win through carefully prepared documents and confidence, showcases the power of directed information, even if its authenticity is debated. Conversely, Crockett, despite championing justice, let emotion override reason, leading to defeat through her overheated response under pressure. The unity event shows their effort to reclaim trust, but it's still overshadowed by the media tide favoring Leavitt. These details mirror reality in America, where political narratives often shaped by social media, fake news, and emotion rather than truth. The lesson? In today's polarized U.S., controlling emotions and verifying information are key to defending one's stance. Crockett lost because anger took over, much like how many Americans get swept into online arguments without checking facts. Leavitt, though ethically questionable, won through tight media strategy, reminding us that thorough preparation and staying calm under pressure are critical. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell.